Avengers deaths in Kang Dynasty official revealed. See what everything always has to say about this and check this out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Remen, aka Allfires. Now, coincidentally, I already did a video on Avengers 5 and 6 this morning. We covered some anonymous stuff and details posted to Reddit and 4chan. Ironically, at the beginning of that video, I mentioned that it seemed like an absolute glut of Marvel news in the last 2 weeks surrounding Quantumania's release. Well, as it happens, the guy who wrote Quantumania, Jeff Loveness, is currently writing Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and sat down with comicbook.com and my buddy Brendan Davis for a full in-depth interview where he made some pretty amazing teases about this 5th Avengers film. We're breaking it down, official reveals for Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty from the writer Jeff Loveness himself. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to occasional industry insider reports and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. The next one will coincide with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy in just a couple of months. Again, all you gotta do, be a sub, leave a comment on this video, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so as I said moments ago in the prologue, and for context, this broke earlier this afternoon on comicbook.com under the headline, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Jeff Loveness breaks down film, teases Avengers 5 exclusive, where they go on to write, quote, Loveness spoke with comicbook.com in an exclusive interview following the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. In a spoiler-filled Q&A, the writer offered his perspective on the message packed into Phase 5's launch title, where it leaves Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, and the sort of deadly expectations we should have for Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. Okay, so the first question by comicbook.com spoke about how all their stories end up needing to work together and asked him if he had had a chance yet to collaborate with any of the other writers on Marvel stories. And this is what Jeff Loveness said. Quote, maybe specifically Waldron and I the most, because we're just writing these Avengers movies within a few years of each other. At Marvel, they just have such a deep bench, so you'll jump over and talk to the Fantastic Four guys, or you'll see what they're doing over in Blade or something. It's just good to keep your eyes on everything, and then confirm that he was most excited to write for Namor. So, considering he name-dropped Blade, Fantastic Four, but said he's going to write Namor, Namor confirmed for Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, Fantastic Four, and Blade likely. Comicbook.com then goes on to ask, Avengers the Kang Dynasty will be Avengers 5. I'd love to hear about how you're approaching establishing a new superhero roster and the dynamic between characters and anybody you're excited to work with. Also, are you going to try to emulate anything from the previous Avengers films? This is what Jeff Loveness said, quote, oh man, I think the Avengers movies, I'd almost go more for the comics. I mean, because the movies have been so fantastic, obviously, but I think Avenger comics are really cool because literally every issue opens up with the credo of, and there came a day unlike any other. And so the impetus of an Avengers movie or story is like, this is the day where we need these guys. This is the threat we cannot handle alone. And it's a seismic shift in the world, a generational event. Our old generation is gone and retired or scattered. I'm guessing he's referring to the Avengers. So it compels a new generation to step up. He then sort of remarks about how excited he is to have this opportunity and said, quote, I really want to swing for the fences and tell a story that you can watch with your cousin, you can go on a bad date and watch it somewhere. I want it to be a big American epic in the best sense of the word. But for me, the best part of this interview came when he was speaking specifically about the ending of Quantumania and what to expect from Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. This is what he said, quote, yeah, I mean, certainly in these Marvel rooms and all that, you certainly game out all these stories and you pitch them out and you write them out and you're trying to land the best puzzle piece because there's so many characters in the ensemble. Certainly you see what people are saying online, but on paper and then just in your heart, as you can see at the point about stranding Scott and Hope down there in the quantum realm or whatever, at the end of the day, it's just repeating the same beat from the second movie. That was just a hurdle we couldn't eventually get over. And then also kind of affects Avengers in the same way. Well, you're just going to have to do the exact same beat from Endgame as well. Getting out of the quantum realm, and I don't think that would be a satisfying finale that people would think it would be. But certainly you go through these permutations, and at the end of the day, I think, I don't want to kill Michael Douglas. At a certain point, it feels expected to kill someone in the third movie, and I actually felt the joy of this movie was having a bit of a joyful adventure. Fellowship of the Ring, only one guy died. He kind of deserved it. But you're not killing off Pippin. Killing off Pippin in Return of the King would have just bummed everybody out, man. If Gimli were to get his head ripped off by a troll, that's not going to be great. But certainly, it's up in the air, and I think for these bloodthirsty fans, there's a little movie called Avengers Kang Dynasty. I think he'll bring the heat, referring to Kang and what we should expect from that film. Now, outside of the confirmations of cameo and writing for Namor, this is extremely telling of what I suspected all along when we first knew that the multiverse would be a part of Avengers 5 and 6. Let me explain. It does not matter how many times you kill a Thor or a Captain America or an Iron Man, or how many of them, if you kill them from Earth, say 95387. The ones that we followed in the 616, sure, but what we basically have by a multiverse and infinite versions of characters is very expensive cannon fodder. So while Infinity War, the unthinkable happened as we watched half of the universe and a lot of our beloved Avengers disappear, sort of different during Multiverse of Madness when these new versions of the Illuminati were ripped apart on screen before our very eyes. And they can do that same thing to Avengers if they're multiple versions from Earths that we won't end up following. Of course, at the end of it all, you're hoping that they restore the multiverse, as was part of the 2015 Jonathan Hickman run, but also he's revealing there's going to be real estate for Kang to really spread his wings, so to speak, or should we say a multitude of Kangs in the Kang Council. And look, I really like this because we already know this is canon, definitely giving some agency to the dialogue we heard in the trailers. Are you an Avenger? Have I killed you before? I've killed so many Avengers. They all blur together. Well, certainly because Kang can not only go anywhere, but any when, that is a direct quote from Kevin Feige, the ability to fight other Avengers across the multiverse and from previous battles, well, may reveal a lot about what's already happened. And again, this is going to be so amazing to see play out on screen when they can have a little fun without the consequences of not having these characters at the end of the day. I cannot wait to see this come to play, and I really hope that they're willing to go all the way with it with the violence. I think some of the grounded stakes and some of the serious tone, some of the stuff I absolutely loved about Wakanda Forever is what's been missing in movies of late. And while, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't anywhere near the tone it's had in the first two films, it was definitely much more of a serious film. I still long for the days of good old Winter Soldier, where there was very, very little comic relief, and when it was something like Cap busting up a shield to his arm with his foot after he's knocked out an entire elevator. Those were the good old days, and that marks me as old. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5. The next one will correspond with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy in a couple of months. Because it's truly random, and if you want to be entered to win for any of the giveaways, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. Also, guys, I only announce winners when there is one live on the channel with my voice in the comments shown on screen for everyone to see. That means if you're contacted by someone pretending to be me in the comments, remember, anybody can use anybody else's photograph. They're not just on my channel, they're all over YouTube. Please be vigilant. No YouTuber will ever ask you to contact them on a third-party app like Telegram or WhatsApp. I certainly won't do that. No YouTuber will ever ask you to pay for shipping. Be safe and do us a favor by reporting those comments. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter @IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name Allfires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.
So I like this video. Have a great day and see you guys. Bye.